Today we dive into 3 raw betrayals, one about a hobby turned weapon, another about a hidden romance, and a third about secret art that threatened a future together. When my friends finally walked out of our living room, I realized the real problem wasn't my girlfriend's endless Pokemon plushies, it was their contempt for her. Their jokes escalated, and my girlfriend, quietly arranging all her collection in our bedroom, felt humiliated. I watched the tension rise, hearing snide comments about her childish obsession. In that moment, the air cracked. I felt my heart split between defending the woman I love and the longtime friends I thought I could keep. We had been together for 3 years, living under one roof, sharing meals, and planning a future where my girlfriend's hobby was a quirky footnote. My friends were a constant presence, weekly game nights, endless banter, and a history that stretched back to college. I never imagined their jokes could become weapons, nor that my silence would be seen as approval. The love we built felt solid, but the foundation was suddenly shaken by an unseen pressure from people I trusted. A few weeks before the outburst, she whispered about feeling judged, yet I dismissed it as insecurity. Her plushies multiplied, cluttering every spare surface, while friends made increasingly sharp comments. I noticed her withdrawing during gatherings, laughing less, and clutching a plushie tighter. I also caught herself hiding the collection in the bedroom, as if protecting it from a storm. Those subtle cues, her silence, the secret stash, the forced smiles, were warnings I chose to ignore, hoping the tension would fade. The turning point arrived when my friends arrived for another night of drinks. Their jokes about living in a cartoon grew louder, and my girlfriend finally snapped, pointing at the mountain of plushies in our bedroom. She stood there, tears streaming, demanding respect. I felt a surge of shame as I realized I had enabled the mockery by staying silent. The room fell silent, friends' faces reddened, and I finally understood the depth of the betrayal, not by my girlfriend, but by my own inaction. I apologized sincerely, removed the friends from our home, and invited my girlfriend to a quiet dinner where we talked openly about boundaries. We reorganized the plushies together, designating a special shelf that celebrated her passion instead of hiding it. The friends eventually reached out, apologizing for their immaturity, but I chose to keep distance. Today, we share our space without judgment, and I've learned that protecting love sometimes means standing up against those you thought were allies. Now we shift to a father's quiet discovery of his son's hidden love, a truth that reshaped an entire household. I cracked my son's bedroom door early one morning, expecting the usual quiet. Instead, I found him and his roommate, snuggled together, bodies intertwined, sleeping side by side in my son's bed. My breath caught. The reality that my son had been living with his boyfriend, hidden in plain sight, slammed into me like a wave. The room felt suddenly too small, the silence too loud, and the love I thought I knew was suddenly laced with secrecy and fear. My son, 20, had moved away for university, thriving academically and socially. He visited home every other month, and during the pandemic, he chose to quarantine at my house with his friend. They shared a modest flat off campus, and I had always assumed their bond was platonic. Over the years, I'd watched him grow into a compassionate, resilient man, and I cherished our father-son moments. The revelation that his closest companion was also his romantic partner felt like a betrayal of trust one never imagined. There were subtle hints, the way they called each other babe in passing, the lingering hugs after movies, and the occasional shared blanket. I noticed my son's increased happiness when his roommate was around, and whispered conversations that stopped as soon as I entered the room. Yet I chose to ignore those clues, fearing I might overstep or cause embarrassment. My silence became a wall, allowing the secret to fester while I pretended everything was ordinary. The morning I opened the door, the world shifted. Their bodies lay entwined, the evidence undeniable, yet the room held a quiet intimacy that spoke louder than words. I stood frozen, heart pounding, unsure whether to shout, to comfort, or to turn away. The realization that they had been living their truth under my roof, hidden from me, broke something inside. I left the room without a word, my mind racing through memories of missed chances to understand. That night, I approached my son gently, sharing my love and asking how I could support them. He smiled, relieved, and we talked openly about acceptance and the importance of feeling safe at home. I told his roommate that he was welcome, and we all agreed to treat their relationship with the same respect I'd give any family member. Today, they live together openly, and our household feels lighter, built on honesty rather than hidden affection. I'm proud to stand beside them. Our final tale explores a secret world of art and imagination that threatened a future engagement. When I finally read the folder my fiancé kept hidden on her laptop, my stomach dropped. Inside were dozens of erotic fan fiction stories and sketches, many featuring herself as the main character. I felt a mix of jealousy, curiosity, and betrayal. Why had she concealed this part of herself? The discovery felt like finding a secret room in a house you thought you knew, and suddenly questioning whether we were truly sharing the same life. We'd been together for 3 years, living together, planning a wedding, and dreaming of a shared future. She was artistic, soft-spoken, and always kept her creative projects private, saying she worked late in the home office. I admired her talent, but never saw the depth of her imagination. Our bond felt solid, built on mutual respect and love, until this hidden world of fantasy surfaced, shaking the foundation of trust we'd built. She'd often disappear into the office for hours, citing deadlines, while the glow of her screen hinted at something else. I once caught her sketching a character with a familiar curve, but brushed it off as hobby work. When I asked about her late nights, she laughed it off, saying she was just stressed. Those small evasions, the secret of size, and the occasional scent of perfume on her hands were all whispers I ignored. One evening, after an argument, I impulsively opened her laptop to prove she was lying about work. Instead, I found a folder named Private. Inside, vivid stories and drawings unfolded, a world where she imagined herself in passionate scenarios, sometimes with characters I recognized. My heart raced as I read a scene where she described feelings that mirrored our own relationship, yet she kept it hidden. The betrayal felt less about sex and more about secrecy and withheld intimacy. After a heated discussion, I expressed my discomfort and asked her to share her creative side openly. She apologized, embarrassed, and explained that the stories were a private outlet, never meant to threaten our bond. We agreed on transparency, and she began showing me her sketches, even inviting me to co-write a short piece. Today, her art is a shared passion, and our engagement feels stronger because we chose honesty over hidden fantasies. Betrayal cuts deep, whether it's a hidden hobby, a secret love, or concealed art. Yet each story shows that confronting truth, speaking bravely, and choosing empathy can turn pain into power. What would you have done in their shoes? Drop your thoughts below.